Today is August 2nd, 2019. I'm Emily Kelly, and I am interviewing Mark Golden at the Newkirk Public Library in Newkirk, Oklahoma. I'm a member of the Newkirk 4-H Go-Getters, and this is for the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame project. So, we're going to start with, what motivated you to join the military?
Well, actually, I was drafted. And I said, well, I'm going to go, so I might as well go at the top. And that's what I told the recruiter. I want the hardest MOS that you know. And I got calibration. And I found out since then, and nobody knows what it is. And it's, if all the weapons and all the electronics in the military, all of them, Air Force, Army, Navy, was to build a pyramid, calibration would be the point. So I started at the top. So going to Vietnam was, they asked me when I graduated in Maryland, where you want to go in the world? I said, what's my choices? And they said, you can go to Vietnam out of Okinawa. I said, no, I don't want to know where bullets are flying. I've always tried to keep myself out of harm's way. And I could go to North Korea, and I said, them people over there is crazy. I said, I signed up from my recruiter in Ponca to go to Germany because he had a guy, Cunningham, out of Ponca that was coming home from calibration, getting ready to go to Germany. So he's going to be at Ponca for 2 weeks and go to Germany for 2 years. I said, that's what I want. Well, he didn't tell me that calibration school had 85% flunk rate. I found that out when I was in Maryland. I'm going, oh boy. I bit off more than I can chew. Well, it's intelligence. Well, I knew I didn't have a problem with school. So I said, I want the toughest school you got. I didn't have a problem in school here. And, well, let me see what you got. Well, then they tell me when I get up there that there's 85% flunk rate. I was the only one out of 15 guys that graduated that school. The rest of them went someplace else. Most of them into maintenance. And I saw them in Germany. When the equipment was wrong, and when I first got there, we fixed it. But that we never got above 50% over there. Our capacity, our manpower that we needed, we never got above 50%. So that'll tell you right now that you're going to do way more work than you think you're going to do. And that's all right. You do it. And the food was great. I loved it. And I was there at the right time, too. All the mess halls were in a competition for best food. And the German food was wonderful. The only problem, they didn't eat sweet potatoes. In Newkirk, we grew up with sweet potatoes. They're pig food in Germany. And I said, you know, I knew some Germans, and I said, I want a sweet potato. You ain't eating that. I said, I grew up on that. I said, that's pig food. And I seen barns full of sweet potatoes, mountains of sweet potatoes. They're feeding their pigs for their schnitzel. And they wouldn't eat. I said, this must be Germany. I said, set your clock back 20 years. Well, I'm from Newkirk. Our clocks are set back 10 years anyway. You know. So, I had a great time over there. And being on the top of the pecking order, it helps because we was TDY. We was, Monday through Friday, I was at a guest house. And Saturday and Sunday, I was in my house. I wasn't supposed to have a house, but I had one downtown. I was a Spec 4. And you had to be a Spec 5 and above to live on the economy with the approval of the Army. Well, there's ways around everything. And I had my own place downtown in Permisons. And on weekends, that was my house. I did anything I wanted to do on weekends. Monday through Friday, I was Army. And I had a good time, and they paid me to do it. I like that. You get your base pay plus TDY pay. And I lived like a king. Didn't mind Germany a bit. Now, a lot of guys come out to my apartment out there for various reasons. And they just complaining about the barracks they're living in. I was never assigned a room. My last 2 months, they pulled me off my team and it restricted me to my room. And I said, well, Captain, you have to assign me a room because I don't have one. And it's 2 months before 2 years already gone by. And he said, I don't even want to know how you did that. I said, I don't even want to tell you. I didn't do it. You did it. You and your people did it. They lost me, and I stayed lost. If they're going to give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Do you have any... Well, tell me a little about your time in basic training.
Basic training was Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri in May. And if you've ever been in Missouri, in May it's hot and muggy. And there's only one time that the wet bulb got above 95, I believe, and we was on a 10-mile run, and we sat in the shade. They said, sit down, it's too hot. And I turned 21 in basic. I still have questions about that one, but...
What was your primary job after training?
With calibration. And I calibrated anything from oscilloscopes to multimeters to garbage scales. If they said 10 pounds, they wanted to be 10 pounds of garbage, because I asked about the garbage scales, and they said, well, what they have out, they have to be replaced for the people that's eating in the mess halls. I said, well, I never even thought about that. And we had things in calibration that was 2 pieces of metal like hockey pucks, about the size of hockey pucks, that the surface was so true that you could just put them together like this and give them a little twist, and you couldn't pry them apart. And set them, it was like they was glued together. And it's just the moisture in the air. It just seal them together. And we had weights and measures. We could measure a pencil mark on a piece of paper. You put a half-inch mark on a piece of paper, and I could tell you how much that lead weighed. And we learned all that in Maryland. And we were the standard. We went to STRATCOM sites all over to southern Germany. We were right down on the French border. So the top of all the mountains we set up in and calibrated all of their equipment, because STRATCOM, Strategic Air Command, they had bombers in the air all the time, and they wanted communication with them. And that was us. If they didn't have us, if their equipment wasn't calibrated by us and signed off by us, they didn't use it. So they could have a $2,000 oscilloscope that is out of tolerance. They can't use it because they can't guarantee that they can talk to people they don't want to talk to.
Were you deployed, and if so, where and for what?
Yeah, I was in Germany for 2 years, and they gave me Fort Benning, Georgia. Our main lab was in Georgia. I said, no, I'm from this country. I want to go someplace else. And they said, you know, you go to Vietnam, no. I want to go to Korea. That's just as bad. They just haven't started shooting yet. And then I said, Germany. I said, I'll go to Germany. That was part of the NATO, our NATO obligation. Bodies on the ground. And we had 500,000 of us over there.
What was the most demanding part about your deployment?
I don't know if I had any demanding. Staying out of trouble, that was my demand. And that was tough sometimes, you know. I'm not going to say when I was younger I was perfect, by no means. But I stayed on that boundary. And I never did go to jail, although I could have. And they asked me to do stuff in Germany that was not supposed to be done. But they did it at the time. And it's because of the times that we was living in. You know. I don't know. If they told me to do something, I did it. And I've come to Newkirk, and you hear people complaining about their jobs. I said, you took the job, do the job. If you don't want to do the job, go home. and I see that happening all over the world. I just hope I die before they get what they get.
Where did you serve the majority of your time in service?
Well, it was 2 years in Germany and 2 years in basic in my school in Aberdeen, Maryland. So most of my time was in Germany, and I loved it over there. So I didn't have a tough military. I wasn't going to go where they, you know, our calibration teams out of Okinawa would go to Vietnam for 3 months, but we are so far in the rear that I don't know if you'd get shot. I don't want to go there.
What rank are you most proud to have earned?
It's the rank I didn't earn. Well, I'd earned it. What is it? From a Spec 4, I stayed at Spec 4, and I turned Spec 5 down twice, because at the time you had to spend a year in that rank. That would have extended my enlistment. I said, no, I'll do what you want me to do, but when it's time for me to go home, I want to go home. And I said, you can keep your Spec 5, and I'll take the lesser pay, and I don't know how much that cost me. But they were giving me extra money in Germany anyway, so I was okay.
Which medals or citations are you most honored
I don't know that I got any medals. I was just a grunt doing his job.
Tell me about some of the special people you met.
Well, John Camacho from El Paso. His daddy was Puerto Rican. His mama was Austrian. And he started in the school in my class and flunked a 2-week section of that, and they set him in a class behind me. Well, he wound up on my transfer team in Germany, and he could speak every dialect of German that there was. Swiss, Weiss, Wo, Schwu was all the same word, just depending on what part of Germany he was in. And he could speak them all. His mother spoke Austrian, which is German, and to all her kids, which was him. And he was brown skin and black hair. He was Puerto Rican, physically, and couldn't speak a bit of Spanish. Couldn't speak. He looked like he was from El Paso, so he looked like he was from Mexico. And he had no idea what they was talking about. But you get him in Germany, and I wound up, he was my translator and my friend.
What was the best and worst military food you ever served?
Well, and I thought about that, and I said, I can't think of any. I was brought up, you know, Dad, you eat what's in front of you. It wouldn't be in front of you if it wasn't edible, so you eat it. And I can remember times when I said, I don't like that. As a kid, I ain't eating that. Yes, you are. Because you ain't leaving this table till that's gone. And sometimes it took a couple of glasses of milk to wash it down, but I got it down. But when you start with you eat anything that's in front of you, basic wasn't the best food. But when I was in Germany, they had a contest on good food. And the German food was great. And you don't ask what's in it. If it tastes good, eat it.
Do you have any funny stories that could only happen in the military?
Well, I don't know. It is part of what they shouldn't have done, and they gave me an M15. That's old, because that was a prototype, and that's what we was using in '72, was M15s, was AR-15s. Now they're M16s, and now they're whatever, they're new technology, whatever. And they gave me, as calibration, the guy that was in the brig, they sent me downtown. He was going to kill people. His wife was sleeping with a lot of people in town. He was gone. Our transfer teams are gone 3 months at a time, and he was on a transfer team. Every time he left town, she did anything she wanted, and he was going to kill them. Everybody in the lab, and he had a guy that was going to help him. Well, the guy got cold feet and turned him in, and he went to jail. And they found out that I went to school with him. they looked back through the records in Permisons, and I went to school with him, so they gave me an AR-15 and 3 rounds and put me on guard duty down at the MP. I said, wait a minute, I'm not an MP. And what am I doing with live ammunition in Germany? And he asked, he said, if I try to run, are you going to shoot me? I said, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to try to kill you. I'm going to shoot you in your leg so you stop running. I ain't going to guarantee that you're not going to lose a leg, but I'm not going to jail for you. I didn't do anything wrong. But yes, I will shoot you. I'll shoot you in your legs until you stop running. And I just hope you don't die. I don't want to shoot you dead.
How did your military experience affect your life today?
Well, I've got good jobs because of my military experience. I worked at Cessna in electronics. I installed the avionics in the Cessna 152 up here at Strother Field on the other side between Ark City and Winfield, because that used to be Army Air Corps Training Center, I heard. And the runway's still out there, but I got that job because of my military in electronics, and I came in a wire puller and left the top dog out on flight line. And you get what you get. I don't know. I worked and they seen it.
Have you kept in contact with anyone you served?
No, I haven't. I sometimes wonder how they're doing, but I haven't contacted anybody.
Do you have any other stories you'd like to share?
No. Better not. I have a lot of questions, and nobody has any answers. And that's all that's going to get you is more questions, you know. So I just keep them to myself.
Well, thank you for your service.